All right, so as of the day of filming this, I just learned about the new Master Duel selection pack called Synchronized Cosmos. And in it is one of the most insane synchro monsters in the entire game, Excel Synchro Stardust Dragon. And Excel Stardust, I think, arguably, you could get the most value out of in the Synchron deck specifically. Now, Synchron is one of my favorite decks in particular. I decided to build it after I watched an MBT, like, sort of no ban list, like taking cards off the ban list tournament, and I saw the crazy combos and stuff that Synchron can do, and I'm like, I have to build this. I absolutely have to build this. You know, it's actually really funny because I'll have people come up to me when I'm playing Synchron at locals. They're like, oh my goodness, is 5D's your favorite anime? This is like such a cool deck. And I say, no, GX is my favorite anime. Now, the deck is a little bit of a meme in the Yu-Gi-Oh community because it creates these very long, complicated combos, very solitaire-like gameplay. Your opponent just kind of watches, you know, maybe, you know, if you're in Master Duel, you activate a Maxi, you draw a bazillion cards, and just hope that your opponent doesn't draw into a card destruction off of a TG Hyper Librarian and just waste your entire hand. In fact, the deck is such a meme, I think during one of Konami's, like, recent creator invitationals where they got people that aren't just Yu-Gi-Oh content creators, but also people more adjacent to it, like Saikuno. They had like a secret ban list of cards that you couldn't bring to the event to make the game look better to a more casual audience, and Junk Speeder was on the list. Yikes. Ugh. But for me, a lot of the appeal for Synchron is just in sort of how flexible the deck itself is. That if there's not really any sort of like typing or monster or archetypal restrictions on a Synchro monster in the extra deck, that the Junk Speeder special summon as many tuners as possible provides a good starting point for kind of whatever sort of combo that you want. But enough waxing poetic. This video's primary purpose is to teach you, the viewer, not only how to do a Synchron combo, but also how to use the new Excel Stardust in that combo to really maximize your board presence and resource accumulation and whatnot. Now, this video includes ways that you can build your board both in the TCG and in Master Duel. So, depending on which version you play, hopefully I can provide like a decent build for you, barring any ban lists or anything like that. Any OCG players out there, I don't know why you're watching this video. I don't really got anything for you because Duels Nexus Synchron stuff is kind of a whole other can of worms. I'm going to be using both Master Duel gameplay and like physical cards in order to show you the combos and whatnot. And with that, let's actually get into displaying the deck, doing combo lines. First thing is that this deck relies on Junk Speeder to get going. And so for Junk Speeder, you really only need two specific cards. You need basically Junk Synchron and a level 2. So the ways that you actually get those level 2s will depend on what you put into your deck and whatnot. But I chose Calico Clawcrow for the demonstration here, basically as like the bare minimum for like the kinds of boards that you can produce. This is basically a vanilla once you special summon it. We're gonna go normal summon Junk Synchron, special summon Calico Clawcrow, because it's just all dark, and we're gonna go Junk Speeder effect. So we're gonna put as many different tuners as we possibly can. And then we go Stardust Synchron's effect to add this card right here, Stardust Illumination. And then we'll use Stardust Illumination's effect to send Stardust Trail to the graveyard over here. And the Stardust Synchron adding the Stardust Illumination kind of allows you to play through Droll. Because if you have the right hand and you don't need to search anything, you can just add off the Stardust Synchron, your opponent drolls you, and you're like, okay, I don't need to add any more cards, so you're good. So, you're gonna go Stardust Illumination, banish the card to reduce the level of Stardust Synchron by 1. and then you're going to synchro with the speeder, and you're going to be summoning Blackwing Dragon. In Master Duel, you would do Chaos Ruler instead, because Chaos Ruler is way better. You get to add something off of it. I do Blackwing Dragon because I'm in the TCG. It's banned in the TCG. And then we're going to go this plus Jet into a Hot Red Dragon Archery Abyss. So this is our first negate. Now, it's a very weird form of negation. Any point you can quick effect target a card, negate its effects. So that's pretty cool. Then, next thing, this is where the combo starts to really get complicated. You go Stardust Synchron, you tribute your junk for cost to special itself from Graveyard, and this will get banished from release the field. Then you special Trail, because when a monster's tributed, you can special summon her. These will get banished when they leave the field, and here's the crazy part. So, we're going to go into Excel Synchro Stardust Dragon. Now this card, absolutely insane. So, this is going to summon a level 2 or lower tuner from your graveyard, which we do have because we sent the Jet. But also off of the Trail, we're going to summon a token. Then, we're going to use the Jet plus the token, since it's a level 1. We're going to summon Celestial Double Star Shaman. Celestial Double Star Shaman will let us summon as many level 2 non-tuners, up to 4. So you will have one level 2 non-tuner given, unless you're given like an extremely bizarre hand. So you'll have bare minimum have that, and then you will go this. You will go for a Herald of the Arclight, and then with these two, you will go for a Baron de Fleur. So, you have, at bare minimum, with a bare starting hand, between both the TCG and the OCG, at least 3 negates. Alright, so we're back here again on Junk Speeder. So, this time, we're going to go Illumination Effect, Banish, Reduce the level by 1. We're going to go Blackwing Dragon or Chaos Ruler. And then, we're going to use this and the Satellite to summon out a Baron de Fleur. But instead of making the Baron de Fleur, because we already have one, we're going to instead go for a Bestial Dispater. Bestial Dispater. Very fun new SIAC format edition. So, Bestial Dispater will allow us to do some really crazy stuff in a hot minute. So, we're going to banish the Celestial Double Star Shaman, banish the Blackwing Dragon, to summon out a Black-Winged Assault Dragon. Assault Dragon basically is a burn effect, and it destroys everything on the field. But primarily we're using it for as another body, but also to banish the Blackwing Dragon. And then we'll go for a Bestial Dispater effect to special summon a lighter dark monster back. So we'll summon the Blackwing Dragon back. And then if you have a card in hand to pitch for your Jet, you go for your Jet. So this is after Cyberstorm access for the TCG only. Obviously you can end on a Blackwing Assault Dragon on the previous board that I mentioned, if you're playing Blackwing Dragon. But I prefer to leave it in the extra deck in case my opponent clears my board, that it's better that I can just banish it, just summon a 3200 body on the spot to sort of create pressure for my opponent. But this is like the balls to the wall full combo, like craziness. Now, another board state that you can do is this one. So you can have your Baron negate up, you have a Herald of the Arclight negate up, and your Excel Synchro Stardust Dragon with the Satellite Synchron. Since the Excel Stardust lets you be able to Synchro Summon during your opponent's main phase, it'll let you go for some interesting options here. So you can do this, where you tribute it, special summon Stardust Dragon, Synchro Summon Stardust Dragon, then go into a Satellite Warrior. Now, Satellite Warrior is unaffected by opponent's card effects. So, meaning that when you special Satellite Warrior in your opponent's turn, you'll have, at bare minimum, you'll have 5 cards to pop. Now, the craziest end board I've ever made with Synchron in real life was this one that I made during a Cyberstorm Access release weekend case tournament. You can see in that photo. That is insane. How the heck did you make that? I'll show you kind of a version of how I did it. So we go, we go for Speeder, and then we summon out all of these guys, and then we'll go Junk Converter, Special, Junk Synchron. So we have plenty of material to work with here, and we do the Illumination, we do the Trail, Banish, Reduce, we'll do that. So it's just kind of like the last version of the combo, but we're going to weave in Maturia Beast here. The Drill Synchron and the Converter will turn into this Nat Beast right here. This and the Excel Stardust go into Bestial Dissipator, or the Hot Red. And I had some set cards too, so yeah. Now, one thing you'll notice is that all of these end boards I just showed you, I made without TG Hyper Librarian. God, man, this card is really good, but the problem is that he's too extra to really fit into the combo. You really have to open pretty good to get your Hyper Librarian. So, when you start getting into Hyper Librarian stuff, that's where the shenanigans get really crazy. This is just with an extra body. It's not even with Doppel Warrior's effect. We're going to go for a Hyper Librarian, Hyper Librarian, Hyper Librarian. So, then these will get banished. We'll go Excel Stardust, summon a token, get our Jet Synchron back from Graveyard. And then we'll draw one off of the Hyper Librarian. Okay, then we'll go one, this. We'll go for the Double Star Shaman. So we have the Doppel Warrior engraved, and we'll just put this Converter as a vanilla. And then since the Excel Stardust counts when it tributes itself, it counts for 2 Synchro Summons. The Hyper Librarian will draw twice. So while it is a waste of an unaffected like Barone or Satellite Warrior or something like that, you can go for like Dissipator and then draw. And I don't have any room left. Once you start getting TG Hyper Librarian in the mix, then you can start drawing into hand traps as additional disruption. So even if your opponent manages to Dark Ruler No More You or something like that, you still have interaction that you can force them into. What I like to do in a best of 3 scenario going first is I actually like to play counter trap cards. So if I do have the hand for a Hyper Librarian, I can draw into one of these, stop one of my opponent's board breakers. So I can at least guarantee that I win in a Game 2 or Game 3 scenario. Doesn't always happen, but it is pretty cool. Now, obviously, in Master Duel's Best of 1 format, that isn't a really realistic strategy because you have to, build your deck all around. But yeah, it's just absolutely insane what you can end up doing with this deck. In fact, if I have certain hands that are really absurdly good, I find that my limiting factor on my end board isn't things like, my resources per se, but more like, hey, do I have anything left in my extra deck that I can summon? And just the monster zone space, that I don't have any more room to summon tokens or summon things and whatnot, and I have to get rid of this thing in order to summon this thing and stuff like that. I found that kind of the limit for how good your end board could be really kind of came down to 5 really big monsters. Now, it is still a lot, but you can't summon all 6 because you need a space for your tuner, your non-tuner for the final synchro you go into. So like 5 big bodies is the best you can do, and I think that's still pretty good. Now you might be looking at Speeder's effect resolving, and you say, okay, you got Speeder's effect to manage to resolve, but hey, what about Nibiru? You're going over 5 summons, so what happens when they Nibiru you? How do you compensate for that? Well, actually, there is a pretty easy combo. The first thing about Nibiru is that Nibiru isn't actually all that scary for this deck. You have to get Nibiru'd in exactly one spot, and it is right here off of the Speeder summon. Because if you don't, the next immediate board action that you can take is use the Junk Synchron and the Speeder to grow into a Crystal Wing. They have to Nibiru you right here, or they're not going to have the opportunity to use it. So, let's get Nibiru'd then. So, oh no, I lost my whole board. But remember, we summon the Stardust Synchron, we still have the Illumination, and by extension, the Trail. So, we're going to go effective Stardust Synchron, tribute the Nib token, then we'll go special the Trail. Now, Double Star Shaman will let us grab level 2s, but Jet Synchron's other effect, you might not have read it, when it's sent to the graveyard, as Synchron material, you can add a junk monster from your deck to your hand. So, you could add the Converter from your deck off of using your Jet. So you would go Celestial 1, Converter 2. So, here, let's represent this as our vanilla level 2. And then we'll grab a Converter. So, we could go for a Herald of the Arclight, Converter effect, special back, the Double Star Shaman, and then, go Excel Stardust, Celestial for a Baron. So, in getting nibbed, we have managed to have a managed to have a Herald of the Arclight negate, a Baron negate, and an extra level 2 body, which is pretty absurdly good considering that we got nibbed. So again, that's just with the basic junk combo. Remember, you have to get the Illumination off of the Stardust Synchron to be able to do this. So if your opponent exactly Joel nibs you, you lose. So if you have to jump the Converter and search the Junk Synchron, and your opponent drolls you, you better hope that they don't have that nib in their hand, because you die to exactly droll nib. You lose that game. Now, reminder, it's really, really important that you get the Junk Speeder to resolve, and it's notorious that it dies to Ash Blossom specifically, which is very fortunate that Junk Converter as a card exists. It allows you to add a Synchron monster, which also includes non-tuners, by the way, to your hand. It puts itself in the graveyard for Synchron material, and then when it is sent to the graveyard, it can special summon a tuner back. Now, really, the tuner extension is very nice. Don't get me wrong on that effect. It definitely has helped me build boards way further than if I didn't have that effect. But primarily, this is used for chain blocking the Speeder effect. So instead of it dying to an Ash Blossom, let me see if I have an Ash in here. Instead of it dying to an Ash Blossom here, you have the Converter will go on Chainlink 2 resolving. Infinite Impermanence is another card that you really have to be wary of, and pretty much kills your turn. Similar deal with Effect Veiler. So pretty much like most of the other hand traps you can play through. Ghost Ogre is another weird one. Ghost Ogre, you'll get your summon still, but you won't have any non-tuners, so you have to be aware of that. Now in TCG, my solution is to just play all the hand traps that everybody else is playing, but I also play Crossout Designator. Obviously, this is not an option if you're playing in Master Duel, because Crossout Designator is at 1. You're probably saving it for your Maxi, yada yada. But if you're not in any Maxi shenanigans, you can use your Crossout Designator to cross out any sort of thing specifically targeting the speeder from resolving. So I've gone on and on about building your board and whatnot, but not the actual deck itself. The actual deck itself pretty much is just ways to get to a level 2 and get to a junk synchron, and also is hand traps and ways of preventing your opponent from disrupting you and whatnot. So I guess that can kind of change from format to format, you know, like both in terms of like, hey, what month is it in the TCG, but also between TCG and Master Duel and OCG. But pretty much your deck is just resolving this condition. It's just use the Synchron and another thing to summon your speeder. Now, if you want kind of an idea of what I'm doing here, this is my main deck I'm going for. So here's all of the cards in it. And I do play a Drill Synchron, but the Drill Synchron really is only there for the Naturia Beast, and I put it in just to save myself some side deck space. And here is my extra deck. Again, this is specifically for post-Cyberstorm Access TCG format. All right, enough combo and deck theory crafting. Let's actually get to some gameplay. This first duel, actually kind of funny. So, opponent goes first. And speaking of anime synchro decks, we have Blackwing here. So, Vada, they go for the Vada. They send, summon Blackwing Dragon. Tribute. Synchro into Storm. Storm sends Steam. And Blackwing Dragon. Okay, beatable board, beatable right. So I go for a Skater, attempting to go into Chaos Ruler to beat over the... And they have the Ash. Then they have the Ash. Okay, no problem. So, go Junk Synchron, Special Quillbolt. They go use the trap card to go into Silverwind the Ascendant, popping both my monsters. Okay. We still got it, Synchro Overtake. Quillbolt specials itself. Junk Speeder effect. Now, I make the mistake here of not grabbing the Stardust Illumination off the effect just to try to avoid burn damage. But they tribute everything. They get the token. Okay. T-set. Okay, we got this. Okay. So, I attempt to go for the Skater again. And another Ash Blossom! Are you kidding me? Okay, normal summon. Oh, no. Not the Stardust Synchron. Yeah, this is what loses me the game. So, I beat over the token, and yep. Yeah, that me not grabbing the Illumination that first turn lost me the game. And then they go for Draco Berserker. Yeah, that was a fun game, though. That was a really fun game. All right, next up here, I actually get to go first. So that's nice. So, Converter, send Satellite, grab Junk, you know, go to the Converter, go into Speeder, chain block, do the normal thing, summon back the Satellite, grab the Illumination. So, I have the Doppel in hand here, so you're going to see some crazy stuff. So we're going to go for the Chaos Ruler. Let's see what I grab here. Oh, go for the Calico Clawcrow, and I mill a Quillbolt Hedgehog, which is insane, because that allows me to go into Hyper Librarian. Go into Hot Red. Draw one. Ooh. Synchro Overtake, that's nice. Trail. Okay. Excel Synchro Stardust Dragon. Okay, summon. Okay. Then Celestial Double Star. Get to draw off that. Then we go for a Baron de Fleur. Synchro Overtake. Bring back the Junk Synchron for an Excel Synchron, so I can go into a Satellite Warrior on my opponent's turn. Set 2 pass. Okay, pretty good board. Oh, Tier Limit. Okay, Tier Limit. Yeah, they go for the Merly. I go for the Called By. They go for the Branded Opening, and Mudora shuffle back the Merly. That's fine. So they go for the Branded Opening. Grab Branded Fusion. Yeah, I'm not letting that resolve. They go for the Pellerino. I negate the Pellerino with the Baron de Fleur. And yeah, Synchron best deck. Okay, so this game you're actually going to see the tier player be able to play the game. So, Skater Dawnwalker. I'm going to try to go for a Chaos Ruler here to fetch out an Imperm. And, oh no, I sent the Illumination to the graveyard. That's not good. Because the trail doesn't go to the graveyard, that means we can't extend as much as we can. So, I'm just hoping I could do something with it.
I'm able to go into a TG Hyper Librarian because of the Caligo, so you know we'll see what happens. So I go for a Baron here, go into a TG, and fortunately I still have those Cobalt Hedgehogs in my graveyard, so I just hopefully am drawing into something here. And okay, there's the trail. There's the trail. Okay, go into Hot Red, draw one, and don't draw into any hand traps at all off this Hyper Librarian in this game. Thanks. Go for the Excel Stardust. Summon the token. Okay. So I summon another body, and yeah, that Overtake would have been way more helpful if I drew it earlier because I don't have any more Monster Zones. I could have gone into a Crystal Wing. So they grab a Kelbeck, go for a Mudora. I negate the Kelbeck, so I'm like, okay, they're probably going into a Zeus. So I gotta stop the Zeus. Okay. They go for the Dryden to force out my Hot Red. They force out the Hot Red. They go for Rhino Heart, send Murley. And you know what? I'm chilling here because I have an unaffected Satellite Warrior I can still go into. So, and then they go for triple attack, forcing out the Excel Stardust. They go Haviness. And then I go for the Satellite Warrior, allowing me to pop all their cards. Literally all of them. They try to use my Hot Red on my Satellite Warrior, but they don't read the effect of Excel Stardust. So they do their tier thing. They go into a Kaleido Heart to shuffle back my Barone. But the Seer player actually kind of struggles because they can't out an unaffected 6,500 Satellite Warrior, funny enough. So this turn, I decided to just hit over because I'm not going to activate anything as special summons because that would proc the Lucalos, which would send the Kaleido Heart, which would shuffle my Satellite Warrior because remember, the Assault Stardust doesn't proc. And oh my goodness, they drew the exact thing that they needed for turn. Are you kidding me? Okay, yeah, that's fair. I lost. Yeah, that's exactly over 8,000 damage. All right, and then this last game here. Oh, this is an awful hand. Going first, this is probably one of the worst hands I've ever seen. So we go for the Dawnwalker, go into a Chaos Ruler, try to grab literally anything. Okay. Converter, Maxi, Junk Synchron. Okay, grab the Junk Synchron. Okay, normal summon Junk, special the Converter, and get Nibirued! I didn't even summon Speeder yet. Oh, I got Nibirued. Oh, awful. They Kaiju, drop with the Kaiju. Oh, it's just Numeron. Oh joy. I mean, they can't gain attack, but, yeah, I'm less than 4,000 life points. So, yeah, that's it. For anyone curious, this is the Master Duel version of my deck specifically. Yes, I know it's not super-duper optimized or anything like that, but you gotta fit in all your Max C hate and everything like that, and your non-engine and all that. So, anyways, guys, that's it for the video, and have a good day.